This episode is brought to you by KasolKicks.com. In ancient Egypt, the word ka translates to soul or spirit. At Kasol Kicks, put the soul back into your sneakers. Shop popular and custom kicks, hoodies, and t-shirts. Receive 15% off your next hoodie or t-shirt order when you use 2CP hoodie or 2CP shirt at checkout. That's the number 2CP hoodie or shirt. Visit KasolKicks.com. That's KASOLE Kicks.com.
Bounce.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah, what's going on, y'all? How y'all feeling? We're back.
Too Cool Parent style.
That was corny.
Leave me alone.
Welcome back to the Two Cool Parents podcast with your hosts, Will and Shay. I'm Will.
I'm Shay.
And we are here. We don't have a topic.
We do.
We have a topic.
It's just a little heavy. That's all.
We didn't do a lot of research.
I mean, it's not necessarily it's research. This one is personal.
Yeah.
I think that's why. This one really hits home as
before
we are as parents.
Right. So, I mean, speaking of parents, we're recording this on Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
To all the wonderful moms and
in the
baby's
future.
moms, baby mama's moms.
Happy Mother's Day in the past, so that when we put this in the future, you'll know that it's Mother's Day. So, because we're recording this on that day. We post it tomorrow, it'll be the future, but in the past it was Mother's Day. So happy past Mother's Day, right?
I don't know, y'all. We'll be confused to me when he be trying to do stuff.
See, if you open your third eye, but but happy Mother's Day. Shout out to all the moms and mother figures out there. Happy Mother's Day to my mama, my wife, my mother-in-law, my grandmothers resting in heaven and looking down upon us, my aunties, my girl cousins,
I think when we say Happy Mother's Day,
I'm just feeling the Happy Mother's Day love. Shout out to all the new mothers,
or new mothers to be,
and new mothers to be soon.
Yes, we have a few coming up that are our listeners.
Yes, and supporters
and friends of the pod.
Right, so
we won't put that out there yet. When you're ready, we'll share our love.
Yes, so
I love this. The season of new generations, and that's kind of where we're going.
Yeah, but this season's been cold so far. Like, this is like a cold spring. Like, Mother's Day is supposed to be all nice and sunny, and then everyone's wearing pastel colors, and
we were still wearing
going out to Perkins, and so like Sunday brunch.
I know we did not do because of your schedule. We did not do church today.
Yeah, we didn't do CMB.
That's with Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter for those who don't know.
CME. I said CMB, Cash Money Brothers. We all we got. My job is I see what's coming on the horizon for my job, and it's summer travel about to be ridiculous.
Yeah, folks are
traveling.
So why don't we do the news update? We can start with that before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show. As we're recording this, the world is starting to open back up.
Yeah.
The
world's starting to spin a little faster now.
Yeah. Travel to countries is opening back up. Restaurants are opening back up after
concerts
a year into
concerts getting booked.
Of, kind of just isolation.
Right.
So I think we are in that process of relearning how to socially interact with one another.
Hybrid learning is starting to dwindle down in some parts. Hybrid working is starting to dwindle down.
That's
Folks
right. They're like, y'all got to come back in here now.
Back to the office.
That's what it is.
You over there ski. What? That's not that's
sound effect for that.
Wow.
Thank you. No, hit the people. I said what I said.
Oh,
I said what I said.
Thank you. Anyway.
But yeah, you gotta go back to the office now.
And that's weird in itself. Like I know you've been going since throughout the pandemic.
Some of y'all work shirts and blouses don't fit the same.
Yeah, the COVID 20 is
the COVID 50. Yeah, the COVID not 50 50. Got that COVID 50 on
that
there.
extra layer. We got to shed that off. Speaking of which, shedding weight. Will and I went to a Whole Foods market, natural foods. Excuse me, Sprouts. Try something different. Putting in some natural ingredients. So and Will told me that I couldn't have creamer because it was cancer. It would kill me. And y'all know I love my coffee. So if anybody out there, I'm putting this out there. If you know a natural, good coffee creamer substitute that I can use, please drop it in the comments below so I can have something that I can use. Because the way Will presented it to me this morning on Mother's Day, I was like, you're not going to take my coffee from me.
So it wasn't this morning. It was this afternoon, actually. But
you're not going to take my coffee from me. Just because you want to feel better.
Well, not just feel better. I'm actually in the process of going through to get bariatric surgery. I'm getting a gastric sleeve. And, some folks are like, why are you doing that? You could do it yourself. Focus on doing it yourself. This and that. I've been trying to do it myself. I've been doing it myself. I've lost weight, gained weight. I'm up and down like a elevator. But, this is something that I am focusing on. And I went through a class. And the class, which I have to go through, it's mandatory, was showing us that, get the thing that might have a little more calories, but it has all natural stuff in it for the most part. Maybe like one or two things in there, like, if it's like a gum or something like that to keep it together. But
if you can't pronounce
the ingredients on the back of that product, don't buy it.
Have y'all ever gone shopping? That is
diaspirate,
really
phosphoryde.
Like there's stuff
but so we're on that health journey that way for myself.
So all our health nuts that are listeners, please drop some tidbits and some comments if you have some stuff that you use that are like, natural things that are all natural products, not cleaning products, but food products that you're like,
I'm still a fan of full bleach
for substitutes or things like that. Let us know. Drop them in the comments. We'd be happy to start that journey.
Yes.
Blog about that, babe, or put it out there.
I mean, we have a lot of stuff in store for the summer. We're actually going to soon be wrapping up this season. We're doing this Mother's Day episode here. We're going to jump into that in a second. Then we have a Father's Day episode, and we have a couple of other things, traveling and stuff like that, where we're going to kick off in this end of this season 3, while we take a little couple weeks off and then come back, and we'll do all that, and we'll kick
coming back at the top of the fall, y'all.
Back at the top of the fall school year. Kids will be back in school.
We can't wait till the first day of school. We're dropping them all off.
Like, don't come. Y'all can y'all keep them?
Bye.
Can y'all keep them at school? That's boarding school. We might send them away. But no, in the news is just things are getting back to what is considered a new pace or a new, I won't say new normal, but it's really
I want to get rid of new normal,
but a new way of life, and I think
it's post COVID, as vaccines are rolling out and ramping up, and vaccines are being distributed to other countries as well. There's this okay, we're all ready to go back, but I'm still very hesitant. I'm still very cautious. Please continue to socially distance, wash your hands. All of those things are still important.
And if you already received the vaccinations, please do not laminate your vaccination card, just in case there most likely will be a booster shot coming out for everyone.
Oh, yay, fun.
Yay, another
shot.
Another day of me not going to work and me having my arm stiff and I can't even move for almost 2 days.
Yeah, we both were hit pretty hard with the second dose.
That second dose was real. I mean, I'm glad I got it, because now we're planning on taking a trip in our favorite rocket ship, zooming through the skies and whatnot, and we can, for where we're going, we don't need to show much but our Lilu Dallas multi-pass that we're vaccinated. And
Dolores.
What?
I said Dolores and Dolores. We got to take that too.
What's the
money? We don't always have the coin.
Dollars.
Yes,
Dolores. I was like, what type of
cheddar?
Cheddar.
Cheese.
Nachos. But
pesos.
So let's just jump into it. Now this all stemmed from, again, it's Mother's Day, and for mothers, we celebrate you. We want you to be giving your flowers, not just on this day, but every day. So prior to today, for a Mother's Day gift and whatnot, I helped procure Shay a new phone.
Woo, yeah. We out here. Because our old phones were old. Actually, Will's phone was about to die.
Yeah, mine.
So that's really what prompted
my phone was haunted. My phone was really haunted.
And if you do look on Reddit, there is a subthread about haunted phones.
Yeah, haunted phones.
But yeah, it was out of need and necessity more so than Mother's Day. But thank you.
But it kind of popped up that way, and especially when
the timing worked out well.
I mean, we can say the name because they're not sponsoring us yet. But Apple dropped the purple iPhone, and she was like, "Oh, I want that for Mother's Day." And this and that. I was like, "Okay, cool."
Y'all seen them commercials? So, it makes you excited about it.
So in the commercial,
they ain't making commercials about the other colors.
No, just the purple. Just the purple. I mean, just the purple one right now. But they already released all that other stuff in the beginning of when they dropped it back in September. But besides that.
But they ain't had them colors though.
they had the colors.
They was not doing individual.
The colors came out like they weren't doing. It was a mass drop. It was a drop.
Yes.
So that the blue and the other ones couldn't drip, but this one was a mass drop.
This
for
one
the
was
purple.
a drip.
And now people are dripping out here with the purple. See, we're using the new lingo and slang with these kids, so we can stay cool and hip. But no, again, for Mother's Day, it stemmed from there, and then on Mother's Day. As well today we're just catching up on a couple shows before we came down to record. And if you've seen the Apple commercial for the purple phone, they're utilizing the Candyman,
the original from Willy Wonka
and the Chocolate Factory. And it just brought up memories and stuff like that. And I was Shay this morning to watch the commercial, and I was like, yeah, Happy Mother's Day, boo. This is what you kind of wanted right here. You wanted to, especially upgrade, because we were one of those individuals when it came to Apple. We will upgrade every 2 years. We waited a little bit. We just said, let's just see what happens. And Lord and behold, my phone acted up. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, let's go ahead and try to knock this out if you want to. But besides that, the song came on. It brought back memories of joyfulness and growing up,
simplicity of living,
simple life in back when. And we kind of just want to dive into a little bit of raising children in this digital age, new world. And you're going to ask, how does that tie in with Mother's Day? So, I mean, that's what Shay's going to bring up.
I was about to say, would you like for me to?
On her side.
Because, and I'll bridge those two together. So,
connection.
One of the things that, as mothers, we always are just in the forefront of our mind is our children. What are they doing?
Fathers
How are
too,
they?
But mothers, especially today.
I didn't exclude fathers. I just said one of the things is our children and the way that they're consuming information. And I don't know about the rest of, everyone out there who are listeners, but I'm very concerned with, the images that our children see, how they see it. I mean, everything from George Floyd's murder on down to where we are today. I want to be able to talk to my children about it, especially if there are big subjects like that will come up in school, that will come up in everyday kind of conversation. But one of the things, and we've touched on this a bit in a previous episode with our special guest, Kia Brooks, who always talks about kind of just monitoring what your children are doing on the internet. It goes a little bit deeper than that. So parenting and especially mothering in the digital age is one of the things that I wanted to talk about specifically, because it's not just handing your kid a tablet and having the tablet go raise your kid. It's really taking an intuitive look and understanding what's out there, what they're consuming and how to shape them to put them in the best light in order to have those specific conversations about what they're viewing. So,
may I ask you a question?
Sure.
So, and I'm just speaking from the aspect of someone listening and just saying, well, this just sounds like what our parents did with us. I mean, we had MTV and VH1, BET.
Our parents parented us through the digital age too, because we're digital age kids, babe.
Right. So, I mean, so what's the difference now?
I think the difference is the accessibility. You know, for us, TV went off. I remember when TV went off, when that little after like 10 o'clock, that static.
This is now the end of your daily broadcast.
Yes, and it would be on static, and there would be nothing on TV.
First they would play the national anthem, then they'll go static.
So, you know, growing up in the late 80s and early 90s, TV wasn't the way it is now. So 24-hour news cycles, they were not there.
Kids are probably saying, what is TV today?
Well, nowadays they don't even probably watch it. They just watch it on their devices.
Their devices, yeah.
And that's another reason how it's changed. So before, we used to sit down as a family and consume media together. I don't know about your family, but my family, when we watched TV, a lot of times we would sit around and watch our favorite programs. So the Cosby Show, Fresh Prince, those were all things that we watched together as a family.
No, everything was centered around the TV guide, and the TV guide came in the Sunday.
Yes,
in the Sunday newspaper.
It came in the newspaper,
and you kind of planned out your week, like, yo, Star Trek coming on at 8:00 on Thursday. Mm-hmm. Make sure everyone's sitting around the table 8:00 at Thursday, and we all gonna watch Star Trek together. So I mean,
and I remember there were some shows my mom wouldn't let me watch, like Mama's Family. She wouldn't let me watch when I was younger.
I couldn't watch Comic View when I was younger. So, I didn't start watching Comic View till like junior high school. I couldn't watch Comic View when I was in elementary.
See, so your parents were parenting during the digital age.
Well, so I feel like when we've already had this discussion, you know, probably before, how. So give us your perspective as a mother of, we're talking about raising our children in this digital age and how we were raised. The way I'm trying to link it is, when we were raised, we were taught how to survive. How are we teaching differently and showing differently? Instead of just survival, how do we teach our children to live? In this digital age,
I mean, I think that's subjective to each parent, you know. But I can share what we're doing in our household.
Well, give before we jump to between the two of us, as a mother, how do you navigate that?
Well, I think you just have to give your kids, you know, the reality. So there's common sense, and then there's just nonsense. And we know common sense ain't common. Which I call it nonsense.
It's really crazy because nonsense is more common than common sense.
Exactly. My point.
So common nonsense.
Common nonsense. It makes sense to me. Will's over here nodding.
It's very sensible.
So it's like, you know, when we're talking to especially our kids, like, you know, I still instill in them some of the things that my parents did, which is, you know, stranger danger. Making sure that you know your exit points whenever you go into a building. Make sure you know, especially if you're out and about. Especially
in today's world with mass shootings happening on a rampant.
That is something totally different that my parents never had to prepare me for. So that's one of those things. I remember when Columbine happened, how that changed so much the scope of just school in general. I remember them bringing metal detectors to school for the very first time and installing them. They were literally in the middle, like drilling, you know, the drills into the hole to install them. I remember that. It was middle school for me. And it was very scary to think that someone that is my own age could have hate and anger so much inside of them that they would want to hurt me.
I remember, and this was actually, it happened right in front of my eyes. My junior high school principal, I forget his name, but he was legally blind. Like, he was legally blind, had his walking stick and everything like that. But he could still see. He was still able to, you know, see enough. And one of the kids who rode the bus with me to school, and he got, like, a dude just randomly started beating up on them at school and whatnot. And this was the first time I ever saw someone pull a gun out on anyone. And literally, the dude pulled a gun out on the principal. It's like a little 22. I remember the gun specifically. It was a silver 22. And just luckily, thank God, the gun jammed.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reality. So, you know, with our kids, I remember London's first day of school, first week, I should say, one of the first things that you do when your child goes to public school is they learn active shooter drills. Excuse me. And as a parent, I had been removed, you know, from having to do that. So I didn't realize that it was a very common thing that happens in schools. And so that first week, it was kind of unsettling that that's what they're learning, you know, but that's the reality. That's when you go back to that question, when you're like, how are we preparing our children, or how are we, you know, guiding them? That's one of the things that I think we have to be real with them, that there are people in this world who, for whatever reason, they have a lot of hate in their heart. And because of that, they may hurt you or your friends or someone else in an environment that's supposed to protect you.
Now,
so to do that, that's why they have active, you know, those
active shooter drills. Now, to tie it back into the digital age, you know, our children are getting, I was not saying
and
our
most
children.
Students were, I think, bullied, as that's why they did it in the first place.
Right.
And
then
bullying
has
also been
they,
around for a while.
But then they also said that was partly inspired by The Matrix.
Yes.
When the movie had dropped. But again, the tying it back to our conversation at the top with the digital age, we're in this world of information at your fingertips.
Instant info,
you know, children,
immediate gratification,
are
unrealistic expectations of beauty. I mean, I could go on.
Please, I mean, jump in. I'm trying to frame a question, so good. Jump into that. Like we're trying to bridge that, not bridge the gap, but draw the bridge of what we're talking about for Mother's Day, how we're parenting for us, and then hopefully this is helping some of you out there, or you want to pass this on to someone and saying, "Yo, don't you think that maybe you might want to listen to this?" Because every time I see that your kids know more than they should know, because every time I see them, you put them in front of a tablet or a computer, or leaving them on their phone instead of spending that time. I don't know, like, jump in on this. Like, so
to me, I think it's a couple of things. I think that you, as a parent, you should absolutely know what media your children are consuming. They have parental controls for a reason. Use them. Not only do you use them, but actively know how to, you know, because things do slip by. So actively know how to, you know, update, how to stay abreast of the kinds of things. So we've banned Caillou, Peppa Pig, all of those in our house. But because Christian still has the app, he's still able to see episodes of Peppa Pig. So one of the things I've gone into now, as I've found through my own research, is you can actually go in and block a specific show. You know, it's as simple as that. So as parents,
we ban Caillou in this house religiously.
Well, it's going out there, so
thank God.
And the reason why, I'll give, for those who don't know, these are kids programming. These are two children's programming shows who show children who talk back to their parents. We won't play that in this household. You ain't gonna talk back to me.
Not going down.
They argue with their parents. Yeah, no, it's not happening. But to get back to your question, I think you need to be able to understand the platforms. So if your kid has a tablet, absolutely understand the limitations. Understand what media they're consuming. Consume it for yourself. See if it's appropriate, if it's age appropriate, if it's something that they need to be listening to or watching. You know, just don't hand them YouTube Kids and be like, here you go. You know, there are all kinds of things that can pop up in commercials and things like that. But have those boundaries for kids. You know, one of the things that we've learned as parents is kids need boundaries. They need boundaries and structure. And, you know, it's not. And
some people are saying, like, well, I mean, the structure thing sounds a little bit like discipline. And,
yes.
You know, the disciplining of my children. I know, I don't believe in beating them.
And I used to be that way. I used to be that way.
As
a parent, I used to be a free, I would consider myself a free range parent. Yeah, no, that's why my kid's in therapy right now. So part of it is kids need structure. Why? Because they're still forming their own ideas and they're still understanding and consuming and forming opinions and forming their thoughts. And so if they don't have a safe and structured environment to do that, then look, this is why your kid turns out to be, a mass shooter.
Ooh. Pass go, you skip go.
Yes,
you skip right all and went all the way up there. No, I am in agreement. I mean, structure, discipline, not in the sense of like, don't touch me, I'm your father. It's like, I always had a respectable and healthy fear of my father growing up.
I think that, to get back to your point, that's one of the things that we're missing.
Because I knew that if I messed up out here in this world, I have to deal with
not just one person, but everybody, the whole family.
Not daddy, not father. I got to deal with Butch. My father.
What type of day?
I mean that's my father. Minus his nickname. There's William. There's Bill. But then y'all don't want to meet Butch. And when Butch come out, he was something. Now my dad's a little older. I'm a little taller, a little bigger. So I ain't really scared of that man no more like that. But he does have deference, respect in my household when it comes to this. But growing up in his house, even though I was becoming my own man and all this jazz before I went to college, I still had respect to know that and understanding and fear of my father.
Absolutely.
To say,
listen,
spoil the rod, spare the rod, spoil the child. if I got caught out here doing anything under the sun, police pull up, say that your son X, Y, and Z, or I get a call and say I'm in lockup or anything like that, I got to deal with Butch. I'm not having that.
Absolutely. And it's like, we got to get to the point.
Or not just Butch. I got to deal with my mama's brothers. Then I got to deal with my daddy's family. Then I got to deal with any cousins who are older than me who are then going to check me. My cousin Billy, my cousin Mark.
As it should be. Listen, it takes a village to raise a child. And this is one of the reasons why. We often get into these conversations about, what would we have done differently? Or what do we do differently as parents than how we were raised? But I think there's some value in the things that our parents gave us. So they instilled very early on boundaries.
Yes.
Not just boundaries on, turning off the TV or making sure that we cleared our plate or, doing our chores. But they gave us, especially as we were getting into the digital age. I mean, my parents very early on, because my dad had computers and he worked around computers and things like that. I remember when AOL came out, he had very, strict conversation with me about, hey, so a chat room, anybody can show up in the chat room. Mm-hmm. So you don't know who's on the other end. I remember him having those conversations with me about, this person may say that that's who they are, but you never know. Right.
It's like that movie.
If you remember that show that came out, How to Catch a Predator?
Not just that, but remember the movie Surrogates?
Yes, yes.
Have y'all ever seen the movie Surrogates with Bruce Willis? In the opening scene, one of the characters starts around death of a character and stuff like that. But it was two surrogates. One was the son of the person who they're trying to find, and the other one was the female surrogate. But then you go back to the female surrogate's house owner. It was this fat dude.
Yep. 100%.
So you don't know, like you said, chat rooms. Like I didn't really jump into the AOL chat rooms like that. I was, I
mean, I had a healthy respect for them. So if I was on there, it was never, for me, it was never in my intention to meet people offline or do things like that. But children do, and so you have to have those conversations with them. That if you're meeting people or talking to people online and you're developing these relationships, you have to protect yourself.
No, definitely. I didn't really jump into the chat rooms until like my cousin Forrest showed me what it was, and Forrest is 2 years younger than me, and he showed me all this and that, and actually introduced me to this one young lady who I totally forget her name, but she was the first person who I met was an atheist. I was like, oh, I didn't know that was a real thing.
Yeah.
So
your church, I can believe that. I was like, your mama ain't have you around no other people.
No. It wasn't until I got to college I got around other people. I was like, ooh, you Rasta? Oh, witch lady. Oh,
witch lady.
Tarot cards. I got you. Mama, what? Black Jesus. So we had actually just watched the episode of Blackish. Bo pulled out the tarot cards, and Dre was like, "Mama, she got them tarot cards. She got them devil cards out again." Oh, we laugh because
I'm so sorry, y'all.
We laugh because
this is just a real life thing that happened in our lives. So hilarious,
God. Jesus.
Anyway, moving on.
I love my wife.
You guys had to be here to see that.
That's a whole other story we'll jump into later.
We should have a mother-in-law conversation one day.
Woo!
That's what this episode should have been. He's looking for some sounds. We don't have the right people on for that one.
Nah, we need liquor for that one. That's a liquor episode talking about mother-in-laws. Woo!
About in-laws.
In-laws. I mean,
but to get back to your point, I think you hit the head on the nail on the head. Thank you. Is that, as the things that we were instilled upon by our parents, some of that still trickles down, and it should, because it kept us safe.
Yes.
And
but I feel like it was a way for us to just try to survive, like make sure that you don't die.
I mean, yeah, like have common sense. If you go outside on a bus and you start talking to strangers, you could get kidnapped. Yes, that is real.
So do we need it? So we talked about at the top of this, like, we're not just trying to teach our children how to survive, we're trying to live. But do we need to just take that live part out and just like, you learn how to survive?
I mean, I think
survive,
thriving and surviving. And once we get into those nuance things, it's like, we just have to give our children as much information and equip them with as much
that they're privy to.
Yes.
You can't tell them everything up front, but
as they age, age appropriate information.
Yes.
Thank you. But we have to give them the tools and stuff that they need, and then send them on their way. Like, you got to kick them out the nest eventually. And you hope that you give them some things, knowing that they will pick up more as they, listen, experience is the best teacher.
Yes.
So I'm sure if you remember your 20s, we were going back and forth talking about how our first apartment was.
Again, another episode of Blackish.
You know how it was. It was hard.
Oh, yeah. I lived in the hood.
Same.
But I had no roaches because I used bleach.
I just lived in a place with roaches, so there was no amount of bleach would get rid of them. But it's those things that will forever shape you. As you begin your adult life. And so while they're under your roof, it's your job, yes, to keep them safe. And so giving them the tools that they need is important. Having those conversations and not shielding them from them.
So we need to. So we're talking about, again, monitoring and creating a healthy digital lifestyle for our children, because this is what they're inheriting this world, and it's going to be digital. But also making sure that we're teaching them the right things to help them survive and thrive in this life, live this life, not to its fullest, but live it properly in the best way possible.
I think you said this best one time when you were like, the one thing that hurt us with COVID was we don't know how to talk to people anymore. Because you can hide behind a screen, because you don't have to have that real person interaction. It's different when somebody's in your face and having a conversation. You got to learn nonverbal clues, context clues. You've got to, do more active listening when you're in someone's presence. Mm-hmm. If it's just a text message, and we've all been privy to this, I'm sure at some point,
text message,
things can
email.
get misconstrued.
Yeah.
You take a tone, you have no idea where they're coming from. If it's, well, why do they use this word? What do they mean by this?
Mm-hmm.
When you're in person.
I was accosted.
Inflection, and those kind of things can give you context clues as to how that person is trying to come across, so their feelings or what they're trying to say and communicate. And so I think that's one of the things we're going to need to relearn. And I think I said that at the top of the episode, which is coming out of this, we've got a lot to relearn, maybe about ourselves, but also teaching our kids who've been away from other kids for a year.
Yes, they have to relearn how to socialize with other children.
Absolutely.
Build with it, because they've been around adults all day.
Yes.
One of my coworkers has told me that her children are like back to school full time.
Yeah, some schools are back open. They're full-time back open. Some are doing like a hybrid. London is still full-time remote until, next school year, when they haven't said it, they haven't announced it, but I'm assuming that they're going to go back to it in-person experience.
It's going back to in person, but it's teaching. We have to reteach our children to socialize
with kids their age.
Because we've been around adults all day, and that's kind of like if let's say your child that's at home now is your second child, and that second child or the third child or fourth child, fifth child, whatever may have you, and that child grew up around mostly other children, and then you're trying to help coach them and show them how to do this in school while they're sitting at the desk in your home and stuff like that, is a little bit new to them because they had to learn how to be around an adult all day compared to I'm around kids and a teacher, but mostly kids. Now I'm around adults all day. And now,
you know about that because that's how you kind of grew up. You grew up very much so in an adult environment.
Yes, I grew up mostly
like your younger years. I was
the oldest kid always around adults. Mm-hmm. So I hung out with.
And how did that frame your your perception? But also, how did that impact how your relationships were with your peers?
Oh well, I mean, it definitely affected it because, like how, and I know this is going to sound really bad, but it's how we are as adults now. I am more prepared for when friends have to go away or friends don't talk and stuff like that because I saw my parents go through it. My dad more than my mom. But I understand I don't want to say the situations, but I understand, you
understand separation.
Understand separation and not dealing with people or not talking to people.
But that also has its ramifications because
it does, because I want to hang out. I became like, I will say this, and people can tell you if whoever's listening who knows. When I was in school in college, it's like, and again, we already talked about this on episodes way back. That when I was in college, I became a very social butterfly, and I had chased that feeling for years, and I got a taste of it again when I was back in DC because I got to see a lot of people from college who were still in college at the time because they were going to grad school and still doing that. Now that we're all grown, we have kids, we're all getting married, so on and so forth. Cool. My children
goes back to our friendship episode. It's hard to keep adult friends.
It's hard to keep adult friends, and as my children are getting older, I'm getting a little bit more easier to go out and do what I need to do. So it's like and to my friends who are having kids now, you're going to be at home while I'm out, and it's going to be it's the cycle of life. But again, back to me being raised around adults all the time, it affected me because one, when it came to having peers and stuff like that, okay, cool, I know you're going to leave. But now I'm like, all right, cool. I'm stable in my life. I'm looking for other stable individuals in their lives, and I would like to hang out with those other stable individuals. But I'm kind of like, yeah, I know you're going to leave soon.
I don't even think it's about leaving soon. Honestly, I think you just have to realize that, especially if you live in a transient place, that people are going to leave. Because they're there for a season and then move on.
So, but here's the thing:
we were living in DC.
I like transient places because it's already prerequisite. You're going to leave soon, so I'm okay with that. That means I can make a new friend soon. Oh, look, a new one. It's like a new.
So what is it now? Here, you're stuck here.
It's just like people. Yeah, I don't like being stuck. I like being transient. I'm a Sagittarius. I like traveling. I like to go. If you ain't going, I can't help you. But again, that's how
we got off tangent.
We got off tangent. But it kind of ties back in. That's how I kind of was raised. I was raised to enjoy the parties and stuff like that with my mother, but with my father, I was raised to like, oh well, I'm gonna be by myself and I'm gonna kick it by myself and chill out. I got what I need here. I'm good. I don't need this.
Very much so isolationist.
But I don't want to do that no more. I'm kicking that to the curb, especially now that I have COVID. Truly isolate everyone. I want to be at.
You are ready.
I want to be at the party. I want to. I want to be.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. But I want to go and have fun. And again, but I'm trying not to teach my children that. I want them to be able to still be able to make those friends. I still want them to maintain those friendships. I do have friendships, and this goes back to, like you said, the friendship episode from years. but I don't get a chance to be with them. I don't get a chance to hang out with them because, one, we're on two different planes right now.
Wavelengths, yeah.
You're doing this, I'm doing that. But as soon as we link up, I can kick it with you. It might not be the same, and I get that, but at least I can still say you're my friend.
Yeah. And I mean, that's very real. You know, one of the conversations Will and I often talk about is if we do decide to leave this area, how will that impact our kids? Because Will has, you know, left an area, especially during high school, during those formative years, and basically was the new guy in the school, and how that impacted and affected his lifestyle. What does that do to then our kids? And I understand kids are, you know, moldable and they're adaptable. But at the same time, I realize our kids don't have like childhood friends because we've moved around quite a bit.
And not just that, but when we moved into this neighborhood, there weren't a lot of kids. There aren't a lot of kids. People don't have kids on the block like they used to back in the day.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up.
Out in certain areas. States, I mean, in
the United States, it just came out. The census tally came out that we are actually decreasing in the amount of births that we're having. So people aren't having a lot of kids. And one of the reasons is economics, of course. But the other reason is people are hesitant because it's like, yo, these kids is expensive.
Not just that. We just got finished watching an episode of Good Doctor. And this goes back to what we said in the beginning of raising our children, how to live and survive, especially in this digital age, and, you know, what our children are consuming. And, you know, basically the episode was framed around a vote for a proposition. And there was, you know, on this side for yay, this side for no. But then what ended up happening, there was a mass shooting. People are scared to have their kids out here now. I'm afraid to have my kids out here. This goes back to what we were talking about way in the beginning, how we're tying it back now, is simpler times. The Candyman. Like, you can remember the candy store? There was a legit store that was a candy store in your hood, in your block. I remember my dad would take me down the bottom with him, down 33rd and Wallace, and literally down the block, around the corner was a candy store. I can get me Reese cups, the little joints, for like 5 cents.
Yep. Oh yeah, penny candy, quarter waters.
Then you had the bodegas. Then you got your corner stores. Run over there, get yourself some knowledge. Boom, 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 boom. Like, you can't.
Big Chew was my shit.
Peanut chews, Reese cups, Snickers, Now Laters, Lemon Heads, all that. Like, you still have those things. Yo, bring back chips for $4. Bring back chips for $4. But
chips ain't been $4 forever.
Right. The price went up. But you can't say.
Pepsi came out.
But you, it's hard to. I feel, and this is going to take us back to that episode. Like, you know, there was a mass shooting in there. Shay brought up mass shootings, but now we live in an age where like there's a mass shooting probably once every week.
Yeah, lately there has been just a string of violent crime just all over the United States. Most recently, a young lady in Idaho, I think.
In Idaho, 6th grader in Idaho shot 3 people.
No, and to me, it's just seeing mass death like that is it does something to my psyche, and it as a parent, it hurts that I have to have those conversations and reinforce those messages with my kids. Like, hey guys, so when you go to school, there's this active shooter drill, and this is the reason why, because it's still happening today. Right.
Again, like I said, ties back into simpler times when we were listening to the Candyman from the Willy Wonka soundtrack. Simpler, we are past simpler times.
Well, I think a lot of that is economics too. You know, I don't know the year that Willy Wonka came out, but I know that the
smartphones at that.
That now, you know, that we're this post-COVID life. They're talking about how everything is increasing again.
1971.
There you go. Well, that was the big oil and gas
embargoes.
So, yeah. But if you look how the price has increased just over this past year from last year, of housing, of gas, of diapers, of just basic necessities, and people have not
expensive,
crazy. And I need Christian to get out of them. Pull-ups. But people have been out of work and have not had enough income, supplemental income, to catch up. So the gap is widening between the have and the have-nots. The middle class that they keep talking about rebuilding and restructuring and strengthening, it ain't there no more. I don't know if it ever was, honestly, but, you know, it is what it is. There's this, I won't say they need, but they should be, or we should be trying to work together to bridge that. You know, like there shouldn't be, if we're the most
powerful country
and resourceful country in the world, why is it that things like basic health care, things like sending your kid to school, getting them a meal are so hard to do?
Right now you're jumping down that rabbit hole. You're about to jump us on that rabbit hole of talking about issues that need to be fixed but can't be fixed. That can't be fixed. That won't be fixed because of a
political agenda,
political power dynamics.
I get it.
And you know that's like.
And how does that play out in the digital age? Just look at the outgoing president,
former president,
who used the digital media and things like that to incite his base to then cause a riot on the Capitol. So you want to talk about parenting in the digital age? That
was the hardest conversation I had to have with London about that.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
One of the hardest conversations.
Yes, one of the hardest conversations of the past year.
And that's the thing. These conversations are becoming more frequent because we have to have them because they're right. They affect the day to day. You know, before, you know, if something happened in Idaho, you didn't necessarily need to bring it up to your kids. I don't even know if Idaho News made it onto our news station.
No,
back then.
if anything happened out in Idaho, it probably stayed within
Idaho.
a 250-mile radius around that city.
But thanks to the 24-hour news cycle, it's right there. It's in your face. It's all able to consume. And this goes back to the show that we were watching, American Gods, where they were talking about new media.
Oh, man, American Gods, sad. But go ahead.
Why?
They canceled it.
They canceled it?
Yeah.
No more? So we'll never know.
Well, they're pending what we were talking about. They're going to bring American. The producers of the show are trying to make it like a final movie.
Okay, yeah.
So
I need to know what happened.
just to close it out.
Yeah.
So, all right. Take the
For
pen
those
out.
who have not seen American Gods, is a show that Will and I watch.
Really good, but you know they did my man Orlando wrong. But continue with what you were saying, Shay. Media.
So basically, if you've ever tuned into that show, there's this old gods versus new gods battle, and one of the new gods is media. And if you think about it, you know, the way we elevate and the way that we, media can change public perception, and it does. Just look at the outcome of this election. Look at George Floyd, you know, the trial. You know, people are now saying, oh, he would have never gotten a fair trial because of the way that the media portrayed him. What do you mean? We all saw the video. Like, there was video evidence.
Right.
So in some cases, yes, we need it. We needed to have that. Imagine if we didn't. But on the other hand, it's like it's gotten out of control where, you know, there's so much negativity in the news that it's hard to get those good stories, those feel good moments. Those are always like, and in other news.
Those are the last, I would say 120 seconds of each news broadcast.
Most news cycles now have like a feel good moment built in, so they kind of buffer it.
Or if you're going on any of the news source websites, you scroll down middle of the page. That's where you see the feel good stuff, all the topics at the top. But again, you know, digital age, you know, we need clicks. We need views. You could talk about that. We need clicks. We need views. We need impressions.
I mean, yes, that's how we track engagement, which means how people are engaging.
And that's how we get sponsors. That's how we get, you know, this.
That's how all of this engine. I mean, now if you want to get into it, you know, I can go down that capitalist rabbit.
No.
But I won't go down there today. We'll have to have a separate conversation about that.
Yeah.
But I think going back to kind of the meat and potatoes of what this episode is, it's really about how are we taking what we grew up with, those values, those lessons, those preparations for the world that we live in today, how do we prepare our kids for tomorrow? The world that's going to look very different when they get our age than what it is now. What do you think about that?
That's it's a hard question like to answer. Sometimes it's just like, damn, I want to just like, I remember London was listening to music one day and she just had on like some really offbeat music, and I was like, oh my gosh,
London is our rhythmless child.
Oh gosh, I love her so much.
She's on the one.
No, she claps on the 3-5 she's not on the one. On the one, bop, bop, bop. You know what I mean?
She's not on the one?
She's on the one. She's on the 3-5. Bop, 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 bop. Like, that's her. But, you know.
We gonna work on her, y'all.
We working on it. But she had this music on. I was like, what? Girl, turn on play some soul. Play this. Learn how to clap. Learn how to get this. But it's just, that's her now, her life. This is what it is.
So you mentioned the word soul. Do you feel like as parents we're giving our kids enough soul? Like the soul that we got? I don't know if that's the right thing to say.
No. I guess what you're saying. You're saying, are we giving them the same spirit of what we were raised with? We try, but then we also remember, like, there was a post about this on Facebook. Like, as you get older, you realize which parent was toxic. So it's like, you know,
say that again. What?
As you get older, you start to realize which parent was toxic, and then some people were saying it was both.
Right.
So you're now taking what you learned from both of your parents or your auntie, uncle, whoever raised you, grandma, grandpa, whoever raised you. And you're trying to instill the good parts of that into your children. But then you also have to remember there were bad parts about those individuals as well. And you're not trying to give those that. But then some of that energy that you're remembering fades off into you. And then now you're exhibiting partial of that. Like, you know.
I say this all the time. Apple trees make apples.
There it is.
You know, so like, yes, did you expect a lemon tree? I mean, every now and then.
Right. You know, this isn't.
Every now and then. It doesn't happen often. Yeah. But every now and then you might get a lemon tree. But for the most part, apple trees make apples.
Apple lemons?
Apple lemons?
Apple lemons. That's
apple peaches?
It's called a sweet tart.
Ooh.
But
so,
go ahead.
So I'm going back to that soul piece. You know, what aspects or how can we bring that soul into this digital age? Because I feel like they didn't have what we have now, you know, back then that carried that soul.
I guess it's more or less of us. Does
the soul make sense? Like I feel like I'm saying the wrong word.
A spirit of it, a spirit of the
essence. Or
so I mean, there's things of the past that we can leave back then, but it's stuff that we still can kind of pick from and bring it to today and use it as a learning lesson. But I feel like
what? Give me something that you would give as a building block for your kids.
So here's one. I mean, this might be like a spirit of me just growing up, but just I can tell them, like we say this when we go in the stores: don't look at nothing, don't touch nothing, don't answer nothing. You know, that's I feel like that's a part of growing up. That's a part of growing up. Like, don't. I forgot to say that to Christian yesterday when we went into the grocery store. This little boy was picking up everything. we found some Swedish fish in our drink. I said, "Who? No, take that out."
Like, only Christian would find Swedish fish.
And he just let it sit there. He just looked at you like, But
yes, I put it in there.
But
because you know you want Swedish fish, Mom.
Right.
I did not that day.
But I think also it was, another part I would, kind of put up there would be. I think here's one, and this is one that I think that we all can realize and relate to. That your parents said, when you step outside these doors, you represent me. So don't you embarrass me out here.
So you're bringing the structure and the discipline with you.
Yeah, that's the one part I would say. Like, I didn't want to embarrass my family. I didn't want to embarrass my parents. Like, if you ever heard anything bad about me, nope, because I didn't want to embarrass you guys. That's one thing.
That was one of the biggest things in a black household is don't you embarrass me out here.
Right. So, yeah, I would say that that's a spirit of the past. I'm bringing.
So you're bringing the discipline and the structure and all of that.
Don't embarrass me, because if you then embarrass me, I'm gonna embarrass you.
So that's one of the negative ones that you bring it back, that you should probably leave in the past.
But but sometimes it's just to bring that, but
that pettiness,
but that the brevity of it, just the weight, just the, you know what I mean? Just to feel that, like, oh, I ain't messing with that. You go ahead, get the police called on you. See what happens. All right.
So I feel you come from the school of, if we playing chess or checkers, you got to beat me on your own merit.
What do you mean?
So, like, as far as, you want your kid to eventually outsmart you.
Yeah. It's kind of like
toxic, babe.
Really?
It's called manipulation.
Oh man.
That one you should leave in the past, but I like the discipline and that you don't embarrass me out there.
But I feel like, that's how the only way you get smarter is by playing a smarter opponent. And I'm proud of
I hear you.
That's the first one of chess. The only way you get smarter is by playing a smarter opponent.
So you want your children to beat you at your own game?
Not beat me in my own game, but teach me a new trick. Like, ooh,
everything's already been done before.
Yeah, but it's new players.
It's a new game. It's a new day.
The game is afoot.
All right, so let me think. What am I?
Yeah, what's yours?
I think mine is always going to be creativity. Like, I love arts and crafts and doing that. And that was one of the things that I loved, along with going on travel. My parents took me everywhere. Yeah. I loved traveling I loved just going to see new places, looking at buildings, looking at rocks.
Especially in this digital age where, like, especially when COVID happened, I don't know about y'all, but I was watching everything I possibly could to focus my mind to get out of the house. So we watched Aerial America on National Geographic, or Smithsonian Channel. We watched YouTube channels of different cities for people talking about the top 10 places you should live. And I'm like, ooh, we should move there. Ooh, what about this place? Ooh, the best. Like, we watched.
Why we realize that it's important to go visit that place.
Yes, it's important to go visit before
you commit, and then you realize that's not where I want to be.
I'm sorry. But no.
So for me, the arts and crafts, just being crafty, using your imagination, and of course travel. That would be the things that I would want to instill in our kids that I'm bringing from previous times. Because,
and I guess that's how we work. Because I'm bringing a discipline and structure.
I'm bringing whimsical.
The left side of the brain. You're bringing the right side of the brain with the colors and glitter bombs.
Wonderless.
Yeah.
My kids made me a very cool stress reliever. They made me a glitter stress reliever, a glitter jar. Basically, you shake it up and it's just glitter in there. It's perfect.
It was cute. I ain't gonna hold you.
You want one too?
Nah, I'm good.
But yeah, and how does that deal with the digital age? I think it gets them outside. It gets them off of their tablets. For me, it gets their creative juices going. It gets them using different skill sets and different mindsets that just, sitting in front of a TV or sitting in front of a tablet or on a phone don't give you. That interaction, you meet people from different places.
Oh, yeah.
You get to see different places. Like, that's really what I want to expose my kids to.
Culture.
Our kids. Is giving them opportunities. Like, I would love to take them to the Blackfoot Nation in North Dakota, or is it South Dakota? One of those.
It's not Blackfoot.
Yeah.
It's Blackfoot?
Yeah.
Oh, something else.
They are up there, and they are I thought it was
the Dakotas, the Dakota people.
It's called the Blackfoot. Yeah, baby.
I thought it was Lakota.
It's okay.
Shout out to our First Nation people. What's up,
yes. To expose them to that lifestyle, to expose them to,
not just them saying I'm 125th.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Will has a lot of First Nation in him. I do too. And so exposing them to a part of their culture and heritage that often gets overlooked. Mm-hmm. We always focus on being melanated on this show, but there are other, parts of
shades of the melanin.
Yes. That we share and I think would be encouraged. Just like we took them to Utah and people were like, even my mama was like, huh?
Utah.
Like,
what do you do that?
They don't do us over there. And I was like, Mom, it's beautiful. It's emerald out there. You should see it. She was like,
Nah, folks,
they don't do us out there.
You ain't got to worry about that. Just go to your cabin, have fun, and leave for the weekend. Have a great day.
Yes. But being able to expose our kids to stuff like that, and then that just spirit of wanderlust that I have, of just enjoying taking things, going for walks, nature, I remember my parents enrolled me in a nature course.
Squirrel.
Yes, in like 5th grade, and I still went I went to all the way up to high school with these kids, and I remember specifically like going to the James River and like getting in a canoe, wading down the James River because James River has rapids. Like at 5, like how old are you when you're in like 5th grade? 10, 12?
11, 12.
Yeah, 11, 12. Like I'm preteen. Literally
hormones raging
on a raft in the James River.
Derek
like a
is
black
gonna be
kid.
Derek is going to be there. Oh, Derek!
I did. I had a huge crush on one of the boys.
See, she ain't go for the lesson. She went for Derek. I'm not gonna say his name. His name is Derek.
No, it's not. But that's fine.
But
Derek plays with snakes, and I was like, we can't be friends. He would like pull out the Green Garden snake, and I'm like, why? What is wrong with you?
What's his name? Arthur.
No. Anyway, moving on.
Brian, Charles.
Moving on.
Edwin.
There was a Charles in the class too. That's hilarious.
Franklin.
Move on.
Hubert.
Why are you doing all of these British sounding names?
Jeffrey with a G.
There was a Jeffrey with a G. There was a Charles and a Jeffrey. There was no Branford though. I'm sorry. Branford Marcellus was not in attendance.
Branford Marcellus.
That was going to be Will's name.
That was going to be my name. My dad said yes. My mom said no. But no.
So who's the toxic one in your family? No, we don't have to say that on the website.
We're not going there. We're not going there. We're not going there.
So yeah, to me that's.
But we will do an episode of identifying our toxic traits.
Toxic traits. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Season 4.
But those are kind of the experiences and things that I want to, make sure live on. Back to that simpler time of being able to just be around your peers, be around kids, and just have unique experiences.
I'm down for this slogan. Make things simple again. Just make life simple again.
I don't know if we can. I honestly, I don't know if we can.
I mean, the Jetsons were living in like skyscrapers above the clouds, but their life was simple.
I mean, everybody wants the simple life. The simple life is well, in my mind, it's easy. It's slow. It's kind of, strolling along. But you hate people who drive slow, so maybe the simple life isn't for you.
No, I think that for me, as we begin to wrap up, is just I'm not saying I want things to be slow and simple. I do like a little bit transit, a little bit busy, but I like.
This is coming from the man whose favorite city is New York City. I just wanted to put that out there.
Can't go wrong with New York.
Which is a very busy, very high-paced, fast city.
Yes. But I just think, but they stay consistently fast. So I think I was looking for consistency. That's what I'm looking for.
Instead of just a step back.
No.
So this goes back to our homesteading conversation, Will, where you're just like,
we're
We're
no longer homesteading. We're glampsteading. Like, glamping and homesteading together. Glampsteading.
Will can't do like real life homesteading.
Oh no, Shay was talking about she wants to live off the land, no cable, no electricity, no satellite, no
DSLR.
Nothing. No,
isn't that what it's called?
Not you want to get a sat phone, and then and that's the only way we contact the outside world. No, I'm good. I want a glampstead.
Will wants like cable TV there. He wants running water, which is important.
Yes, electricity.
But he wants like the general store right down the mountain.
Oh no! Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. Don't even front.
Big summer blowout.
Will has this this thing where he's just like, it has to be within this 20-mile radius. Like, if
Shay, you were the main. Don't you start this. See, this was supposed to be an episode of us chilling. This is the same woman who said wherever we move, it has to be close to a target,
which is important.
So she talked about
glamping or homesteading.
So glampsteading. That means
you're trying to make this a thing. You're trying to make that happen.
It's going to happen. It's basically, we're homesteading, but glamping at the same time with amenities. And we're still giving back to the earth by living off solar power still, trust me, it'll work.
Okay, well.
It'll work. We'll get like one goat in this week. The goat will eat the grass.
What is a goat for?
Oh, milk.
You just said it has to be their store.
Cheese.
Oh my gosh. This makes no sense. But I do think stuff like that to me, that's simple living. That goes back to that whole at the top of the conversation.
I'm about to talk about this as a word of that. I'm just about things slowing down, us being able to talk again, and help bring together the village to help raise our children together. Whether those people, as family, or
whether it's a new village or one that you came with.
Yeah, and then limiting and procuring better feed and better content for our children to, embrace. I'm not saying, censorship of what they need to know. What I'm saying is, understand, if we're going to procure it and understand it, let's at least have a conversation with our children about it, and let's be more active in our children's lives to then, derailing and stopping certain situations from happening, mass shootings in a way, and domestic terrorism in a way, so that we can nip that in the bud early and have that conversation. I think a conversation would stop anything. Hopefully, I'm not saying it would have.
So you're saying we need to talk to our kids more?
Talk to our kids more. Just don't leave them in front of the tablet and the computer and the game and stuff like that.
I say not only talk but listen.
Listen. Oh, that's actively listening.
Imagine if your parents just listen to you more, babe.
That's I mean, and that's the thing. As we get older, we, like I said, we realize we take the good and the bad. We take the good from what we were given. We see the bad and we try to change the bad, or just throw the bad all away and then create a whole new good. And I think that for me, like you just said right there, is listening and talking to my parents on a level where I'm not afraid. Mm-hmm. On a level where I'm in fear of me telling them my truth. So
I like that, and I like what I want to expound on that for just a quick second as we wrap up. Listening to your kids' truth. I think we need to get to the point where we, as parents, as millennials, as whatever, we're raising the next generation. We have to empower them and encourage them. And this goes back to your initial question that you asked me. How do we prepare them for success? How do we give them the tools that they need? Number one, we talk to them, we listen to them, but most importantly, we empower them.
Yes.
Your voice is just as good as the written pen, as just as good as being, savvy, tech savvy, typing, things like that. We have to get to the point where, like you said, we are having those face-to-face conversations, and people aren't afraid to be who they are.
Right.
And so I think that's what's missing. If we want to go back to that whole spirit soul conversation, you just met people where they were back then. There was no facade you didn't have to put on. There was no cancel culture. There was no, we have to add filters on top of everything to make ourselves look good and feel good. No, you were just you were Will from Sicklerville. There was no need for this extra outside character, so to speak.
No, I think
because people knew who you were.
But I think that sometimes we take that outside character that we kind of create as a younger person, and
the avatar.
It builds over time, and we create a new avatar, if you will. Once we feel like we've got our pieces all together, and we're still putting it together. But again, I know we went all over the place with this episode, but
I think we hit some really good points.
We hit some really good points, and we really got off our heart after seeing what we saw, and just wanted to make sure that one, we heard from the mothers, and my wife, the mother supreme in my eye, and able to show
thank you, my king,
how not what to tell you how to raise your children, but give you inspiration and hope and better, tools. Use this as a tool towards, help raising your children and stuff like that in a way. And, we're not experts. We're taking this as a everyday job, one day at a time. You don't know what tomorrow may bring with them, but we try our hardest. And
love on your kids.
And we do, not just try, but we do. There's no, in the words of Yoda, there's no try, there's only do. So we do our hardest. We do what we can, and with fervor and zest to, make sure that we bring in the right people up. But again, talk to your kids, y'all. Be able to just create that dialogue, break down that level of fear in a way where they can't talk to you. There's always a good level of respectable fear for when they do something wrong, but still allow them to come and talk to you and whatnot. And that's one thing we learned in therapy the other day was, talking. So that's my piece, and I'm done. There you go. Flex bomb.
Well, thank you guys. This has been, one of those episodes that we really wanted to share. It's important to us as parents, as millennial parents, to talk about kind of the things that we go through as parents, and hopefully it provides inspiration to you, even if you're not a parent, or you're becoming a parent or thinking about parenthood. This is some of the things that we talk about. So hopefully you got something out of today's episode.
Yes, and please, what we're about to say here in this outro, please do. Love you guys. Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to the Two Cool Parents Podcast with your hosts, Will and Shay. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, rate, and share it with others on your favorite podcast streaming platform. To catch all the latest from us, follow us on Instagram at Two Cool Parents Podcast.